is out. I've got Shreveport City Councilwoman Lavette Fuller in studio, guest co-host. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thanks for letting me be here. It's fun.
We have one of your colleagues, John Nickelson, on the horn with us. You introduce
Nickerson. Man with the expensive words. So tell us what was troubling you yesterday at our council meeting, but use your short words.
Well, I'll start by saying that during our campaign last year for city council, one of the statistics that really concerned me was that our city's pension fund was only 48% funded. And that statistic means that we only had assets sufficient to cover 48% of our projected liabilities, our liabilities being what we project we're going to have to pay to our retirees.
Right.
But I dug further into it, and I saw that the city had been addressing this problem for years, and that we had implemented a fairly aggressive set of increases to the contribution schedule, how much money the city every year would contribute to the pension fund as a percentage of employees' salaries, and how much employees would be required to contribute. But earlier this month, we had a board of trustees meeting for the retirement system, and I am a member of that board as a member of the council. And the actuary report that we received showed that the funding ratio wasn't going up from 48. Instead, it went down last year to 41%. So we now are in an even worse situation than we were last year, and the actuaries' projections show that if we don't do something, if we don't change something, our pension system assets will continue to decline in a way that will threaten our ability to keep the promises that we are making to city employees.
John, what is sucking all the money away?
Yes,
Well, part of the explanation, the short-term explanation, is that the city and its pension system had a bad year in the stock market, and that is not uncommon. Lots of people can say the same. So instead of making money on our investments in 2017, we made something in the range of 13%, which is a very good number. We lost about 3.75%. But the real concern is not that one-year loss. It is what the actuaries' projections show happening over the next 15 years if we don't change our contribution schedule.
Whoa. Change our contribution schedule means putting more money in, asking more from the employees, or asking more from me as a resident of this city.
Yes, how are we going to fix this?
The contribution schedule refers to what the city contributes to the pension system every year and what the employee contributes from his or her own paycheck. The city's contribution is the public's money, just like all money that the city spends, and the employee's contribution is coming out of their paycheck. But so just, I know this is not uncomplicated, but stay with me. At the end of 18, the pension system had assets of about $174 million. If we don't do anything, if we don't either increase the amount of money we are putting into the system or decrease the amount of money we are spending from the system, and that would come in the form of a reduction of benefits of some kind, then in 15 years, according to the report that the Board of Trustees received in April, we will have only $116 million of assets, and we will still be paying in the range of $34 million a year of benefits. So this is an unsustainable path that we're on. We have to make changes, or we're going to look up in 10 or 15 years and be in a situation from which we cannot recover.
But, John, the city doesn't have a big pool of money sitting anywhere that you can increase what the city contributes.
Well, look, that's absolutely right. And you and I, Aaron, have talked about the fact that the city's unallocated fund balance at the end of 2017, which is the last year for which we have backward-looking audited financials, was only 0.017%, basically zero. We had no money in our operating reserve. So we are going to have to make changes to the pension system, including changes in the benefits that we are promising our employees if we're going to maintain the system's solvency. But, I mean, it is critically important to me that we keep the promises we make to city employees who give their professional lives to serve the public. We don't need to promise benefits that we're not going to be able, at the end of the day, to deliver.
So it looks like we've got a lot of homework to do.
Yes, ma'am, we do.
I
Okay.
don't like it.
Real quick, two other issues. You're voting for the repeal of the saggy britches ban.
I am.
Okay. Secondly, Superintendent Gorey is going to join us in a couple of minutes. How do I know you've researched this, how do other school systems handle crossing guards? Who pays for it, cities or school systems?
So I know from reviewing a crossing guard manual that New Orleans and the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development put together just a few years ago in 2016, that in New Orleans, every charter school, every private school, every school district is responsible for funding and managing their own crossing guards. But we want to work with the school board on this issue, but in my view, we should not be bearing basically 100% of the cost, which has been the practice for decades. And I'm sure that we can work with Superintendent Gorey and members of the school board to come up with a mutually acceptable solution to this.
All right, Dr.
You
Gorey.
did a good job,
Yeah,
John.
thank you, John.
Yeah, thank you both.
Using those cheap words. I'm proud of you.